out of money and very unhappy. As long as Krystle could remember, they'd moved from flat to flat or B&Bs with peeling walls and the smell of other people's cooking. As for school, she'd had to change so many times she'd lost count. Just as she'd made friends, she was uprooted to another place because her mum had fallen out with her boss, and Krystle didn't blame her as they sounded horrible, or refused to keep her daughter in this skanky hole any longer. Yet things were about to change again, just not for the better. Her mother had a new boyfriend, Gus, and they were moving in with him by Christmas. It filled her with dread. He wasn't violent. In fact, he largely ignored her, but she felt he'd cast a giant shadow over her life that having a permanent home didn't make up for. Gus made jokes about old people, reeked of aftershave, and often had food stuck in his beard. He also had twin daughters a year older than Krystle, who laughed at her clothes and called her a chav. The terrible twins shared a room, so Chris would have to sleep on the sofa bed in Gus's office and have to tidy it away every night so that no trace of her was left in his workspace. The girls had made it clear they hated the idea of sharing their house as much as she did, especially since she'd pushed one of them in a puddle for teasing her for having free school meals. If only they could live with Linda, but her mum was mad on Gus and told Chris she'd have to make the best of it. Krystle was tired of having to make the best of it. She didn't want to wear someone else's boots, and she didn't want to go back to London. If only they could move here, to the Lake District, and live in this house, her mum and Auntie Linda, maybe a dog and a cat too. She pressed her face to the glass, squashing her nose to the pane, willing herself to be magicked inside the fairy tale world of the Christmas card.
"Krystle Jones, what on earth are you doing?"
The booming voice startled her, and she fell backwards into the border with a squelch. She wasn't hurt, didn't think she was, but the shock had made her heart thump hard and made her out of breath. Above her, a woman towered over her, hands on hips.
"Come away from there. This is someone's private property."
Miss Braithwaite's bushy eyebrows faced off like two warring caterpillars. She looked taller and wider than ever from ground level. The rain had turned icy and sharp, like tiny needles against Krystle's face. Sorry, Miss Braithwaite." Krystle pushed herself up on her elbows, feeling the damp seep through her coat to her jumper.
"The minibus is here. We almost went back to the centre without you."
Krystle let out a squeak of alarm. "No!" Miss Braithwaite's frown melted into a kinder smile. She reached down and took Krystle's hand, pulling her to her feet.
"Come on, madam. Of course we wouldn't leave you behind, but a lot of people have gone to a lot of trouble to organise this trip. It's not fair to keep them waiting, is it?"
"I miss..." She tried to brush the mud from her jeans, but ended up smearing it into the denim. Miss Braithwaite rolled her eyes.
"Don't worry about your clothes. We can pop them in the machine at the centre."
She pursed her lips.
"But those silly trainers are soaked. I'll put them in the drying room for a few days. Don't worry, you can wear your boots for the rest of the week."
She clapped her gloves together.
"Now, chop chop. The driver's not too pleased at being kept waiting, I can tell you."
With a silent sigh, she squelched behind Miss Braithwaite towards the minibus, which was parked at the end of the drive to the house. She glanced back, imagining she could see shadows at the windows, the family returning from a walk to enjoy hot chocolate with squirty cream and little pink marshmallows. Maybe the children would be allowed to open a present early, even though it wasn't Christmas for a few weeks yet. If Krystle was their mum, that's what she would do. Let them have one little gift now. Just one.
"Hallelujah! The Wanderer returns,"
Miss Braithwaite announced as Krystle climbed onto the bus. Some of the boys jeered, but a few kids slid admiring glances at her for having escaped, even temporarily. Far from being annoyed, the driver didn't even look up from his newspaper when Krystle slunk past him. She wrinkled her nose. The bus smelled of wet clothes and fish paste sandwiches. Her new friend, Harriet,